morning, everyone. I get the pleasure of actually putting numbers to everything Chris just talked about. So what does all of this cost us every year? At the end of 2011, TU combined finished the year with $45.6 million in revenue and $41.1 million in expenses. I want to spend a little bit of time with that expense number. So what does it mean to be a $40 million nonprofit? In the United States, the IRS has reported that there is approximately 1.4 million nonprofits. They bring into the economy close to $1 trillion a year annually. Of that $1 trillion, about a little over 1.4 billion comes from what the IRS likes to call environmental and animal welfare groups. And TU gets tossed into that group with approximately 16,000 other organizations in the United States. When you take that $1.3 billion and you take our 41 million, we make up approximately 3% of the nonprofit environmental movement in the United States. So welcome to the big leagues, ladies and gentlemen. Along with that, let's break this apart a little bit and talk about what TU National did this past year. We did about $36.6 million in revenue, up quite a bit from the prior year. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on expenses because on the revenue side, we did have to book, because of accounting rules, a little over $3 million in revenue that's actually being spent in FY12. Back in FY11, but we had $32.7 million in expenses, up 29% from the prior year. A lot of what is in there, of course, is what Chris talked about on this front, most of it being driven by foundation, state, and revenue contracts, one of them being, of course, that Penobscot Dam. We passed through our books for the purchase of that dam, a little over $1.2 million in FY11. So, a couple of other quick highlights to go with that. Last year, we had unrestricted campaign gifts come in above budget. We had a 40% increase in our restricted programs, and our endowment performed just about in line with benchmark at about 0.27%. When you think about what does every dollar TU National go to, 89 cents of it goes on the ground to programs. The remainder goes to fundraising and administration. So we run a very lean operation. Moving on to our chapters and councils, you all reported in $8.9 million for FY11, up just a hair from the prior year, and $8.3 million in expenses. Chris talks a little bit about leveraging income, and we ask all of you to report. You'll notice it's down a little bit, but that is something that's a rather volatile figure that I think a lot of our chapters and councils are still wrestling with how to report on this front. And more importantly, our donated volunteer time up just a little bit from last year at about $13.9 million when you apply the volunteer hourly rate to all the hours that are reported in. And how many hours? Just over 651,000 hours. That's a lot of time. That would be the equivalent of just shy of 400 full-time staff. To give you an idea, TU National currently has just over 180 full-time. Your time is broken up, as you see here, with a large portion of it going into conservation. General operations is what we kind of lump together your travel time on behalf of TU, as well as all of your meeting time in there. And not to be left out, you all are busy spending your time also educating both the youth and public. I am asked quite frequently, how does my chapter or my council match up to other TU chapters and councils? And here's some basic statistics for you. The bulk of our chapters and councils have less than $25,000 in revenue every year. We do have 13 this past year that reported in over $100,000. Just shy 4 of those included have paid staff of their own, but the rest are 100% volunteer run. And that's pretty impressive when you think about the fact that all of you have day jobs and you're running your TU chapter and council. You have median revenue up there as well as your median volunteer hours, which have continued to increase over the past several years. I also get asked, well, where does all of our money come from? And is my chapter and council raising the same type of revenue as everybody else? And for the most part, all of you raise pretty similar revenue with a few exceptions. Most of the money is coming from events as well as individual donors. And then some of you have gone out and gotten yourself government grants and have learned the hardship of taking those on in the form of lots of paperwork. And to make sure not to be left out in here, of course, is the other revenue, a large portion of which comes from license plates fees in about a handful of states across the country. And I don't want to leave out the fact that you have there, combined with the rebates, the Embrace a Stream program, as well as grants given between you all to each other, another almost $500,000 there. So where does the dollar go when it goes to a TU chapter or council? 72% go into programs, and the remainder into your fundraising and your administration. I am also asked, so what is my return on investment for an average TU member? If you take our total program service costs across the organization and you divide it by that 145,000 members, you get approximately $216 per member. When you put that against a $35 TU membership, you get a 600% return on investment. Boy, I wish the stock market did that. And to just bring you up to speed on where we are here today to TU National, we're looking, this is as of the end of July. We're at about $24.6 million in revenue, $24.5 million in expenses. You notice we budget for a pretty big loss at this time of the year. That's because we're in the middle of restoration season. I've got a lot of cash going out, not going to get a lot of cash back until about September, maybe October. So nothing to worry about from that standpoint. But we are doing well. We are a little bit down from the prior year, but keep in mind at this point last year we had passed through our books, the largest portion of it, the one-time purchase of those Penobscot dams, as well as a few other one-time items. So all things considered, things are going well for the organization as we continue to grow and do your operations. And now I get to hand it over to Mr. Haniker. So, any questions? All right, hearing none. Thank you.